Welcome inside the CitrusTV studios. I'm joined alongside beat reporters Seth, Quam, and KJ Vaughn. I'm Jared Barton. Welcome to OPP. It is a special edition of OPP, talking a little bit of NCAA Tournament field hockey as the Syracuse Orange beat up on the UMass Minute Women, 4-2 the final score. Guys, how cold was it outside?
It was pretty chilly, but it's hard to complain being on the sidelines wearing a jacket when those players are out there. Alyssa Manley didn't even have like a Under Armour long sleeve on or anything, so I'm sure it would have been a lot colder being on the field.
It was really cold though, some snow and hail to start the game even. So I am impressed though. A lot of the Syracuse players didn't really wear a lot of Under Armour. Some of them did, but Alyssa Manley was one of them. There was also another one, just the tank top, which I was pretty impressed by.
You got to be ready for whatever the weather is going to throw at you, and I think they were. Let's go and see the highlights of today's win here for the Orange. We'll start out, man, the snow's already falling. You know it's going to be intense.
You can see it there before the game. It was cold.
First half, the only goal in the first half, Emma Russell with a beautiful tip in there.
Emma Russell is always killer, especially in the playoffs. She last season set the record in the ACC tournament for most goals, and she's just money in clutch times.
And here we go, the second goal, Liz Sack puts it in. That's her fourth of the season. SU up now 2-0.
Yeah, they really came out firing at the start of the second half, Jared.
Then you had Lise Lagervey. She puts in the third goal of the game. It's now 3-0. You're thinking, man, this game's probably over.
Yeah, Syracuse really is just one of those second-half teams. Another goal there. Laura Herf had the shot. They actually credited this goal to Liz Sack there. She told us post-game that she didn't actually touch it, maybe actually off one of the defenders. But Syracuse gets the goal nonetheless.
You think 4-0 is a commanding lead, but not so fast. Here comes UMass, and Shauna Rankin-Byrne puts it in, making it 4-1. And then just a few moments later, Sarah Hawkshaw makes it 4-2. And you're thinking, uh-oh, are they going to come back?
Yeah, it was a little tense at the end of the game after the way they started to be up 4-0, but 4-2. They did end up to close it out, though, as you see here, and win.
Pretty impressive win for the Orange after dropping the ACC championship to the Tar Heels of North Carolina. And those are some pretty good numbers there for the Orange.
Yeah, Syracuse did a good job holding on. See Liz Sack there credited with 2 goals, really. Maybe one of those goes to Laura Herf. So a lot of balanced scoring today. Emma Russell, a familiar player on the stat sheet, contributing again with a goal and assist, and good all-around game for the Orange.
Now we're going to go and see some players' sound and coaches' sound as we'll start out with Ange Bradley, the head coach of the Orange.
I don't think the weather is a factor at all. This is our weather, Syracuse, right? So I don't think passing, I disagree that passing was sloppy. I think that the movement above the ball needed to be better, and we forced things that weren't there yet. So I think that to put an external on an excuse like the weather has nothing to do with this.
Giving up 2 goals there at the end of the game to UMass, what happened?
They scored. I thought we played a really good second half, and I think the statistics pretty much show our dominance. I think we had some great attacks in the second half and moved the ball really well, and I don't think it's an inefficiency at all. I think this is a great team, and it was pretty darn good.
So, guys, the question is, was Coach Bradley happy with the performance?
So you said there, right? You saw there right at the end of the clip. She says that she thought it was a pretty darn good game, but the look on her face and kind of the tone with which she said that, I didn't really believe it. Definitely first half was, from my perspective, pretty sloppy. I think she saw that as well, but she's trying to kind of put a positive spin on things and get them into a positive direction and good vibes going into this next game on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly, and I think you kind of already hit the nail on the head. The way she looked, and even the rest of the team, you'd almost think that maybe they lost. It seemed that even though they said, yeah, we were happy with it, we had a lot of opportunities, they know as well as we do that they could have done a little better job. They were a little sloppy in the first half, but at the same time, it is a win. But I really don't think Ange is that happy with this performance as a whole.
Normally after the game, the team will all run together and hug, get in a big huddle and celebrate. And today it was like, yeah, some people went over and high-fived, and a couple people went over and hugged Jess Jacko, the goalie, but really it wasn't, you didn't see that joyous exuberant attitude that you see at the end of a lot of games. So I think it's just, they know how big the stakes are, and when they don't quite match up to their level of play, they're not really satisfied, which in the long run is going to be a good thing for them, and just shows that they're working towards that high level of play, and they're not happy with just, obviously a win in the first round. They want to go further.
You're going to see a couple other faces of solemn looks. Let's go and see what Emma Russell had to say after the game.
Yeah, I think so. I think we kept momentum going, and I think the statistics showed that we, as Anne said, we dominated the game. And we were able to score some goals. So, no, I think in general we're very happy and just have to keep up our aggression.
And what's your preparation for tomorrow?
Right now it's just about resting and regenerating and refueling, and then turn around and refocus on watch the next game and see. Yeah, I just came out in a rebound and there was just enough space for me to send it there. I think it's the best way to come out of into a second half is get 2 goals, and I think it was like 2 or 3 minutes, which really, as we said, shifted the momentum, and we were able to kind of go from there. And yeah, I think that's the best way to come out of the halftime.
The shot differential was 29-3, but SU only pulls out the win 4-2. Is there a lack of, efficiency, or, were they just getting opportunities there at the end?
The way I see it, Jared, is you can never have too many opportunities on goal. It's always encouraging to get 29 shots on goal. That's a great number. And converting 4 of those, 4 goals in a field hockey game is pretty decent. But the fact that UMass was able to score twice on just 3 shots, that can be concerning.
Yeah, exactly. And, Seth, part of that, too, I think it was the end of the game, so I'm not saying that Syracuse should have let up those goals, but they were leading 4-0, and UMass, from the way they were acting, they just wanted to score. This was a team that earlier in the year did get shut out by this same Orange team 4-0, so I think even though, UMass did want to win, when they realized, hey, we might not win this, they were going real hard to just score some goals. But I think, back to the point, it is a mixture of, it is a little bit of an inefficiency. You did see that in the first half, some sloppy ball, movement, balls going out of bounds on simple, catches from the pass. But they are getting a lot of opportunities. So it's good and bad, but I definitely think, Anne just wanted to put, again, that positive spin on it, that they did get a lot of, opportunities. But in the end, you got to be more efficient.
Based on the number of opportunities and the quality of those opportunities that they had today, I would have been surprised if the Orange had gotten 6-7 goals. And I think those 2 goals that UMass had, not only was it just down the stretch and later in the game, but it just seemed like just momentary defensive lapses for the Orange, and those kinds of things are really those mistakes that they won't be able to afford to make going on later in the tournament.
There was a lot of negatives talked about on this show today, but they still ended up winning 4-2, which means they move on to the next round of the tournament. What is your prediction for the rest of the tournament?
KJ, you want to go first?
Well, guys, I will say, I think despite the way they finished the UMass game, giving up those 2 late goals, the goal for this team is they want a championship. Talking to them all year, they have the #1 ranking, right? They finished the regular season undefeated. A huge feat in Syracuse women's athletics, the first team to do it. And they were obviously, happy with it. But the talk was, hey, we want to be #1 in November. End of November, that's the same mantra. And I think what you were seeing with body language afterwards was part of that, they beat UMass. Okay, this is a team that expects to beat UMass, so they're looking ahead to the next game. And I think with that, obviously they do get another home game playing tomorrow. I think that's what's going to allow this team to get deep, and I believe they can win it all, and they can win the Final Four against a quality opponent like maybe North Carolina, who beat them in the ACC championship game.
I agree. I actually, on another Citrus TV program on the bench several weeks ago, during the beginning of the regular season, I actually made a prediction that the Orange would go undefeated the whole season. They'd lose in the ACC championship to North Carolina, use that to refocus, use that feeling of the loss to get that bitter taste in their mouth that they don't want to feel again, and then they'd come back and win the NCAA tournament. And I'm going to stick by that prediction. So far, I've been right, and of all indications I can see so far, I think they have a chance, as good a chance as anyone, to win it, and they are definitely focused and motivated to pull it out.
That's a great call by you. That's so many weeks ago.
What can I say?
I was going to say, talk about knowing what's going to happen already, even before it happens. Well, that's a very bold prediction. We'll see what happens. You know, their only loss of the season, of course, in the ACC championship game against North Carolina. They move on to the second round of the NCAA Tournament, though, on their quest for the national championship. They'll face either Princeton or Maryland in the next round. Well, that's all we have time for today. For Seth, Quam, and KJ Vaughn, I'm Jared Barton. Thanks for tuning in to this special edition of OPP Field Hockey Style. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at CitrusTV Sports and online at citrustv.net and Facebook, Citrus TV Sports. I'm Jared Barton, and thanks for tuning in.